What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. People, in today's video, we want to discuss the recent trip to America by Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa. Was it a good move or was it a bad move? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? Hello. People, Cyril Ramaphosa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, is in America to go and discuss South African and American issues. Now we know this tension between America and South Africa, but does it mean that a president of a sovereign nation needs to fly all the way to America to go and explain to the head of state of another country about what's happening in his country, or trying to debunk the lies that are being said or peddled about his country? Why do I, why do I get the feeling like it's almost like he's going there to give a report card to his boss? Why does it feel like he owes Donald Trump an explanation? Why does it feel like South Africa is a colony or a state of America? And why does it feel like Ramaphosa is a governor reporting to the president? I mean, last time I checked, Ramaphosa was not a Republican. So why does an African head of state need to explain to an American head of state the situation that's going on in his country? America doesn't owe South Africa an explanation about anything that goes on in America, let alone what's going on in Palestine. Even though South Africa is the South Africa is openly, yes, even though South Africa is openly vocal about being a huge supporter of Palestine, Donald Trump does not update Ramaphosa on Israel's plans with Palestine, does he? No. Now I know most of you are going to say to me, yeah, but America is a superpower and Donald Trump is powerful and Ramaphosa is just a small pawn in the game. And people, I don't care how big and strong America is. That's America. They're big and strong in America. They're not big and strong in South Africa. America got no say over what South Africa does or doesn't do. In the same way that South Africa does not have any say of what America does or does not do. Now, most people are going to say to me, well, America will just invest and America will just let them. Let them. Do you? People are so, I don't know why people are so hung up about American companies as if those are the only companies in the world. Don't you know that every time an American company shuts shop, that a Chinese company is just waiting in the wings to pick up where that one left off? Don't you think there are Arab companies waiting to in the wings to pick up where that American company left off? Don't you think there are Russian companies that are waiting in the wings to pick up where that country left off? As long as South Africa has investor appetite, as long as South Africa is investor friendly, as long as South Africa can prove to the world that it is a safe bet and an investment destination, then we're all good to go. We do not need the West for nothing. I'll say it again. Google can go and fly a kite. There's Badu. Facebook can fly a kite. There's VK. So Amazon is here. Amazon can live. Before Amazon, there was Takealot. What do we need American companies for? Name me one American company that we need. Oh, now Starlink, apparently, Starlink might be entering South Africa. Why? Why? I mean, firstly, we said you don't want to comply. So now are you telling me that we are going to bend the rules for Starlink? People, why are we so gullible? Why are we so stupid? Why are we so corrupt? Why are we so Why don't we stand on our own 2 feet? Why don't we do what countries say they're going to do and stick by it? If we say 30% of your company or no investing, then we should stick to our 30% or no investing. That's what I'm saying. But if we can't even do that for all the companies, and then we want to bend the rule for one company, then we should bend the rule for all companies. Then, if that's the case, let us scrap BEE and let us go with the normal route that was there before BEE. Then I think that is fair. Because if Microsoft is here and they could give up 30%, if Amazon is here and they could give up 30%, if Google is here and they could give up 30%, then why can't Starlink do the same? Let me guess. Because it belongs to Elon Musk. Belongs to Elon Musk. So what is so special about Elon Musk? Is he not the same person that was trashing South Africa? Is he not the same person who was going around making South Africa seem like it was this big bad wolf and did not like people because of the color of their skin? Is he not the same person that said Starlink was not allowed in South Africa because he was white and not because the requirement was that you had to give up 30% of your company to a BEE partner? So, what does that tell you about the leadership of our country? What does that tell you about Cupcake himself? You see, we do not need leaders that are traitors. We do not need leaders that bend backwards for other leaders who won't even bend for them, let alone backwards. So Donald Trump will never in his entire life, never bend backwards for South Africa or for Cyril Ramaphosa, let alone for the ANC. In case you didn't know, Donald Trump is a racist, full-blown Zionist racist. He does not like black people. And it's clear in his messaging, in his tonality, and his attitude. If Donald Trump really liked black people, he would have taken all the Palestinians to America. He would have taken all the victims of crime on the farms to America. But no, he is selective. He is taking the people that look like him. I was about to say sound like him. But then I realized that the South African accent and the American accent are totally polar opposites. So, what does this mean for South Africa? Thank you to the ANC. Thank you to Cupcake. Now we look like the laughing stock of the world because not only do we have a head boy of a country going to report to a principal of another country. That is just ridiculous. That is just stupidity. I do not get it, and I will never get it. In fact, I don't even want to get it. You see, the ANC is making us look bad. The government of national unity is making us look bad. In case you didn't know, it is a government of disunity. Because at the end of the day, if this was a calculated move by the ANC, the DA, the PA, then I'm not quite sure if we really are on the right boat. Because I can see the DA and I can see the PA going to America and going to report to Donald Trump. But I could never in my wildest dreams see the ANC doing it, since the ANC, for the longest of time, have been anti-West and pro-Palestine and pro-East. But since they seem to have changed their tune, it means that they're selling out. And why are they selling out? For investment? Well, if that's the case, then they look East policy isn't working, isn't effective, or they haven't applied it, or they're not willing to apply it. Whatever America can do, China can do 10 times better. And it has been proven on YouTube, on TikTok, and by people who've been to China, who are living in China. Recently, China released a series of videos of knockoff goods that everyone thought were knockoffs, that were actually the original goods. They expose where all the big companies get their goods made. So if that's the case, why shouldn't we lean more towards China than we are leaning towards America? Why aren't we begging China? Why aren't we begging Russia? Why aren't we begging Saudi Arabia? Why aren't we begging Iran? Why aren't we begging Singapore? Why aren't we begging South Korea? Why aren't we begging Taiwan? Have you ever thought that the West is not all that it's cracked up to be? We may look at the West and think that they are angels. We may look at them like they are our saviors. We may look at them like they are the be all and end all of African eternity. But that's not the case. It is the very people who plundered Africa. It is the very people who want to keep Africa in chains. It's the very people that want to keep Africa poor, dead poor at that. And if that's the case, don't you think that it's time that we changed everything about the West? Don't you think we should shift policies from West to East? I mean, if you don't really believe that's the case, then why would there be a doctrine that says Africa must remain poor? And that is a Western policy. If that is the case, why does the West give Africa loans at exorbitant prices, at exorbitant interest rates? If that's the case, why is Africa always snubbed at the UN? If that's the case, why does Africa do not have a permanent seat on the UN Security Council if the West had Africa's best interests at heart? Now, I'm not saying Russia and I'm not saying China or the East have Africa's best interests at heart, but at least with Africa, or at least with the East, they come with investments. They come with infrastructure building. They come with loans at a much cheaper rate and at a much cheaper interest rate than what the West is offering. As far as I know, Russia did not colonize any other country. As far as I know, well, this is in Africa, right? And then, as far as I know, China did not colonize any African country. Yes, Germany was split into two, and South and North Korea was split into two, of which Russia was given the opportunity to govern those two countries, and which they did, right? But when it comes to Africa, no African country can claim to be colonized by Russia or China. No African country can claim that Russia or China suppressed them or oppressed them. They can't. In case you didn't know, it's quite the contrary. It is Russia and China who fought for the liberation of most African countries by supplying them training and weaponry. On the other hand, it was the West that helped to oppress Africa through British rule and South African, Dutch, white, Afrikaner rule, right? So if that's the case, why are we still looking to America and the UN for help, knowing that these were the oppressors, knowing that these are the very people that want to keep Africa dead poor? Why are we looking at the people who do not see us as equal to them for help? Why would we do that? I am not saying that the Russians think we are equal to them. I am not saying that the Chinese think that we are equal to them. What I'm simply saying is, if we go according to the history books, those that helped us need to be given a fair and better opportunity. Those that oppressed us, or those that helped to oppress us, need to be given less of an opportunity and less of a look into. As far as I'm concerned, South Africa does not need America. As far as I'm concerned, South Africa does not even need the UN or any other organization. How do I know this? Because Burkina Faso is proving it. Yes, Burkina Faso may be far from perfect, far from developed, but guess what? The new president, Ibrahim Traore, is proving to Africa and the world at large that they do not need the UN, the West, or any other organization that's associated to these organizations. Now, if South Africa cannot learn from Ibrahim Traore, then at least South Africa should try and learn from Botswana. I mean, Botswana does not owe the UN, the IMF, or any international organization any type of loans, debts, or money. They are independent. And guess what? For that, they are being demonized because they are being held and pushed as if they are neglecting their people by not giving them loans to provide investment. And that's not the obvious truth. You see, the truth is, Botswana doesn't want to attach itself to a lifelong debt cycle, which it cannot get out of. Because, unlike China, China will give you money at loans that you possibly cannot pay back. But what they do, they will lease your airport, they will lease your seaport, they will lease you something. They will not place sanctions on you. They will not do these elaborate schemes to destroy your economy. They will not remove you from the SWIFT system. They will not do this whole structural adjustment and growth and initiative programs that transform any small little thing. They don't do such things. So, again, why are we associating with the devil himself? Why are we attaching ourselves to the devil himself? We have BRICS now. We do not need the UN. We do not need the G20, the G7. We do not need NATO. Never have, never will. But if we act like if we do, then it's like we having a permanent crutch that we need to move with. It's as if they don't move, then we don't move. Do we not have our minerals that we can use as leverage? Do we not have our own precious metals that we can use as leverage to gain outside exposure? I think that South Africa sells itself short by depending so much on the West, and yet we have resources that the West needs that we can withhold and trade with the Russians and with the Chinese. I honestly don't see what we need America for. I honestly don't. Just like in the same way, America doesn't need us. So we also don't need them. But if we're going to act like we're dependent on them, come on now. I mean, the apartheid government was in isolation for 40 years from the rest of the world. Yeah, they may have been being held back door by those Western countries and all that. But on the surface, let's just talk surfacely now, right? On the surface, they didn't need anybody. They thrived in isolation. So let's do the same thing. While the Russians and the Chinese help us in the back in the background. Or am I wrong? People, in closing, what I'm simply saying is for Cyril Ramaphosa to go all the way to America to go and report to Donald Trump like he's in a company, going to the boss, going to give an annual report, going to give a weekly report, a monthly report. Come on now. You're a head of state. Act like it. Grow a pair and show them that you too can stand your ground and you too can defend and you too can attack if provoked. That's what I'm saying. This thing of going there with your begging ball attitude, with your yes sir attitude, we don't need that. If you as the ANC want to look bad, go there, go to America as the ANC, but don't go there as the representative of all South Africans, because that is not a representation of all South Africans. That's what I'm saying. Let me know what you think about this topic, guys. Was I on the money or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler.